K Valentine, welcome to Vlad TV.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Been checking out your stuff with Talib, definitely dope.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So you grew up in Chicago,
I did.
Southside?
Southside.
Okay. Now, what was it like growing up in that kind of environment?
Uh, I mean, it was different, but but in a good way. Like, we dealt with, we moved around a lot. My mother was a single parent. She was 6 children, single mother. But I feel like I'm the way I am today. I feel like I can weather anything because I grew up in Chicago. So I mean, it was good. I wouldn't want to have grown up anywhere else.
Well, your father had kind of some serious situations
Yeah.
around him. So he had been shot 30 times?
Yeah. He was murdered. My father is from Jamaica. He was a drug dealer at one point. He was into music as well. And at the time in his life where he was trying to get away from that street life and do the music full time, he brought Shabba Ranks here, for the first time to the U.S. He was really trying to, get out of it, but his past, caught up with him. And yeah, he was shot over 30 times.
All in one situation?
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I was told from my mom and everything, it was actually the day before Halloween. He was on his way to come and pick me and my sister up. He was supposed to be there at a certain time. He was very late. And so my mom had told us, she was like, go in a room, put on your pajamas, go to bed. So he called her, because they weren't together at this point, but they had a really, they were able to co-parent. And so he called her and was like, yeah, I'm not too far. And she was like, well, I had them getting to bed already. I didn't think you were coming. She was like, well, just come and get them tomorrow. And so of course, he turned around, and on his way back, he had a confrontation with someone that he had previously had a confrontation with. I think he may have shot before. And the guy killed him and the girl that was in the passenger seat.
Oh, so your dad actually got killed?
Oh, yeah. He was murdered.
Oh, wow. I mean, how old were you at the time?
I was 6 or 7, something like that. So I remember like the pain it caused my family, but I don't remember all the details, and I get that information from my mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the guy that killed him, did he ever get caught?
No, he's in Jamaica now. But he can't even come back to the U.S. But he wasn't. He's still alive.
Oh, so you're saying that after this situation, he went and fled to Jamaica?
Yeah.
But, I mean, he wasn't extradited by the U.S.?
I don't know, like, really. I just know that he's still alive. He was from Jamaica as well, My father was a part of the Solid Gold Posse. And at the time, that was like a vicious gang in Jamaica, My mom kind of kept us away. She shielded us from a lot of the things. So I don't know all the details, but I do know that the guy who murdered him is still living, and he's in Jamaica, and he can never come back to the U.S.
I mean, how do you feel about that, about the guy that killed your father is still out living his life?
It's crazy, but I'm able to look at things from more than one perspective. It's sad when I look at it from the perspective of me being the daughter of, the person that this man killed. But then I also know what type of lifestyle my father led. I know that he wasn't innocent, I know that it was some things he's done. So, I mean, I just think it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to witness me grow, into the young lady I am today. It's sad.
I mean, do you ever feel like getting revenge or confronting this guy in Jamaica?
I mean, I've thought about it, but it's like at this point, what would I actually say to him? From what I hear, he's in Jamaica, he's poor, struggling. Like, for you to take somebody else's life, you don't even value your own. I don't think I would get anything from confronting this man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even, I don't want, vengeance is God's. You know what I'm saying? He's going to pay in some form or fashion. So, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you initially get into poetry? Because you started doing poetry before rapping?
Yeah, I did poetry. It just came naturally. Like, that was my way. Like, as I said, we grew up, we were, struggling, the struggle. And, I always gravitated toward music. And I always, even the books that I read, like I loved Dr. Seuss, simply because it used to rhyme. You know what I'm saying? I always gravitated toward that. And so, like, when I would get angry or I was feeling sad or anything that was the opposite of positive, I would go be on my own and start writing, writing poetry. And that's kind of how it happened.
Now, how did that evolve into rapping?
I just combined my love for writing with my love for music. Basically, to me, poetry is rap, because rap is rhythm and poetry. So all I had to do was do what I was currently doing, but just start doing it to a beat and more point. And, one day I was just like, I'm going to try it. And that's how it happened.
Okay. Now, you started doing it independently. Like, what actually led you to hook up with Talib Kweli?
Being a fan, being a student of hip hop, my homegirl, I have a homegirl named Ashley Woods. She's a comic book artist, and she knows that I'm a hip hop artist. So she had called me one day, and she was like, "Yo, K, Kweli coming to town. We should go." So I got myself a ticket. I got my sister a ticket, and we went. And Ashley was there. She had a friend who was working backstage, and I was like, "Man, you gotta get me back there. I gotta meet Kweli." And I ended up getting back there. I waited in this long line to take a picture with him. And when I got up there, I was giving him his props. And I was just telling him how much I love him. And I was about to tell him that I rap. And then my friend, it was so funny. She jumped in. She was like, "No, you need to know who K Valentine is." And like, it was so funny. And I didn't know what he was going to say. Because I was thinking like, girl. But he was like, "Oh, word, you spit?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "How can I hear your music?" I was like, "Well, you can go to my website, kvalentine.com, or you can give me your phone number, and I'll text you the links." Now, when I said that, I had no clue he was going to actually give me his phone number. But, a closed mouth don't get fed. So we ended up exchanging numbers on the spot. And before I even got out the venue, he had hit me like, "We having this private party at the Hard Rock. You should come through and play some music." And so I was like, "Yeah, that's dope." But I wanted to make sure it was okay if my sister came. Because I didn't want him to think I was no groupie. You know what I'm saying? I was strictly about the music. So after I asked him about my sister, he was like, "Yeah, she can come through." I was like, "Cool." And so I went. It was other people in his suite. He had his band members and some other people. And what he did was he just hooked up my music to the speakers and started playing it. He didn't say nothing. He just did it. And then, like, the band members, everybody started turning around like, "Damn, who was that?" And he was like, "That's her." They was like, "Man, get the fuck out of here. That ain't her." And I was dressed up, like I had on a dress and stuff. So they were just like, "Wow, that's you." And ever since that day, we've been working.